Hello and welcome. In this video, we're going to be looking back at 2024 on Roblox through my experience. Throughout this year, there have been many games and tons of fun. In this video, I'm going to give you some recommendations and talk about the experiences I've had this year. There is a huge variety of different genres, so hopefully you'll find something new if you've never heard about these games. Now, without further ado, let's get right into it. First up, there is one game that I regret sleeping on this year. Project Somnia. If you've ever played Yumeniki, Project Somnia is pretty much that. Go to sleep, wake up into a dream world, and travel all around. In this game, you can explore, interact with the different characters, obtain abilities, and roam around all 190 different areas. Yes, 190 is what I believe the total amount inside this game is. Not only that, the game has a beautiful art style, and the different worlds are very unique and fun to roam around in. I mentioned this game because I really wish I spent more time inside of it to look around and explore, as I didn't really give it all that much time whenever I did visit it. It's a really cool game and I'd recommend checking it out. Now, on Roblox, there might not be that many roguelikes, and the far and few between kind of all take inspiration from each other. Spelunking is an elevator diving type of game similar to that of Minus Elevation, and in essence it's going to be a difficult game where you and other players have to stay alive while activating the elevator. To do so, you need to complete tasks all around the floor and watch out for any monsters and entities. This game was really fun. Not only is it challenging, but all of the entities in this game are really unique in how they work. This was a game this year that I found myself replaying quite a bit. Overall, if you're looking for a challenge, this is a game I'd recommend. Now, this next one might surprise you. While the previous game is horror themed, I think the most goriest of games on Roblox this year goes to a card game. 21, also known as Blackjack, is a card game where you try to get 21 with your cards, or as close as possible. In this game, you have a few abilities to mess around with the game and to mess with your opponent. Now, you might be wondering how a card game can be so gory. There's a circular saw in between you and your opponent. If you lose, it gets closer. If you win, it goes towards your opponent. If it gets too close, it might just go into your head. Overall, the game is actually pretty cool, but man, is it gory. Sorry to do this to you, but we're not out of it yet. When it comes to visual novels and stories, the best one that I found this year was a game called Expedition Prologue. Now, I do have to put a small warning, this game has a little bit of heavy topics. Despite that, the game has fantastic UI design, animations, cutscene, and storytelling. I will also say this is only the prologue, as the rest of the game is still in development, and so we'll have to wait for it. Despite that, this is a fantastic game, and I would recommend checking it out if you're looking for a story-type game. That is all I am going to say about the game, because genuinely, very fun and very awesome experience. Now, on the topic of stories, one of the best adventure games has to go to Blox Tails this year. Chapter 3 was awesome, and it quickly became my favorite, as I did not expect it to go the way it did. However, I am very glad it did. From the design, the music, the combat, and gameplay itself, Blox Tails quickly became my favorite when it comes down to a story RPG turn-based combat game. If you've never played the game before, I would definitely recommend checking it out. And the game is so good, I want to share it with friends. So we've got a 4-player Let's Play going up on the channel, and you can see all of the parts currently going on. If you're like me, you love adventuring. So the next game we're going to be talking about is an open world adventure game. Stasis had a massive update this year, and it was pretty awesome, the Mycelia update. It released with multiple regions to go and explore, a new boss, tons of new mechanics and items, and overall the update was very fun. The game has a few major aspects or goals that you would kind of want to get to, but overall if you just want to run around, kill enemies, and get some items, you could totally do that. So if you're looking for a game that you just want to mess around in, I would definitely recommend checking out Stasis. If you only want fighting without all the adventuring, then OCTA is going to be the game I recommend. This year, I was happy to explore OCTA, also known as OCTA Hideout or OCTA Basement, as the game itself is incredibly hard to find if you don't know about it. I have a video up on the channel explaining why that is so if you want to check that out, go ahead, and I'll give you the short summary of what the game is. OCTA is a 3D fighting game filled with different classes and their own play styles. The game is awesome because there are tons of maps, tons of game modes, as mentioned, class selection, map hazards, and even items that you can pick up and use during combat. The game has a very amazing art style, and overall, the combat is very fun. On the topic of art style, one of the most impressive games that I found this year is a game currently in development called Cavern Crusher. Cavern Crusher looks to be a mining game where you dive underground and collect ore. As mentioned, the game is still in development, so a lot of this stuff can change over time. Something that I hope doesn't change is the amazing design of it. From the character model, to all of the ore and resources, to even the console. Who does this? The UI is really cool and we get to take a sneak peek at possible mechanics coming our way. And overall, I wanted to share this one because it was a really cool find. Another game this year that really impressed me was a rhythm game called Rusher. I don't even play rhythm games, but I can appreciate a very fun experience. Rusher is a rhythm game where you can select a track and you have to time to the beat or to the music. And basically you want to do your best. What makes this game very impressive is the camera movement, the beats themselves, and how basically the environment around you will mess around. It's a very fun and cool way to get the player a little bit more interested and interacted with the game. You can play Rusher right now, but it's going to be the previous version, as I do believe the current version of Rusher is still being developed in a different game. I'll have both of the links down below in case you want to explore them. This year, a game that I'm looking forward to got an update. Stars Align is a platforming adventure game. Earlier this year, it had an update that released a new world to dive into. In this game, you go around to different worlds and try to beat them. At the end, there's a collectible, and if you progress through a bunch of them, you can even unlock a new area. Now, as for that update, we got a new area and it was fun. It was very fast-paced, way larger of an area than I expected, and overall a very fun time. If you love or if you're looking for a platformer game, I would recommend this one if you haven't already. There's another platforming game this year that I found that really impressed me. Superstar Racers is another game still in development. However, you can play it and it's very fun. Unlike the previous game, this one is a more competitive take on platforming. In this game, all players will start at a point and you'll have to race your way all the way to the end. This game has a selection of maps with their own unique mechanics. So on top of all the platforming that you're going to be doing, you also have to get used to the different maps and what they throw at you. Some maps will give you tools that you need to progress with, while others will show you indicators that you have to go to. Overall, this is a very fast-paced game and very fun. This year, there has been one developer that has really impressed me with how much time they spend developing. The creator of ULTRACHASE throughout this year has been sending me update notices for all of their projects and all of their work. And I have to say, what they're working with is really awesome. If you've never played the game before, ULTRACHASE is a horror game with a bunch of game modes. You and other players can choose which game mode to dive into, and depending what it is, you'll be given a task. Some of these could be objectives that you need to collect, or enemies that you have to hunt down or survive. This game is filled with different items, creatures, monsters, and fun mechanics that you get to mess around with. The movement is very cool, the sound is awesome, and throughout this year, the development has been sending me progress updates, small clips, and information on other projects that they've been working on. It really does feel like this developer is constantly working on something. Now, that might sound very simple on the surface, but some of the mechanics that I've seen them work on is insane. From really awesome looking UI designs to messing around with sound design so it isn't global but in specific areas and messes with the environment, to improvements to AI movement, and small projects where they test this out. Overall, ULTRACHASE is an awesome game with an awesome developer behind it. I would highly recommend checking out their work. Throughout this year, I've gone back and played games that I heavily enjoyed, and one of those is Decaying Winter. Decaying Winter overall just has a really fun gameplay loop, and if you've never played it before, I would recommend checking it out. When starting out, it can be a little bit difficult, but genuinely, as you get into it, it is very fun. You and other players will have to work as a team and try to survive the waves of enemies. Collect items all around the map, and bunker down for the night. On the 10th night, there's going to be a boss fight, so be prepared. The game has a bunch of smaller mechanics, like your health bar, stamina, a bunch of statuses like illness, bleed, and much more. The different classes are very fun, and you will easily find a playstyle that you enjoy. The game also has cosmetics, a level system, and prestige, so there's quite a lot to mess around with. Now, sometimes when working with a team, you are thrown into the worst of situations. Scorched Earth is a game that I am happy to dive back into. I was able to check out this game super early on into its development, and I'm happy to dive into it this year again as well. The game is very fun, and it's a military type game where you fight another team. You can pick a class, mess around with the loadout, and dive right into the combat. The game is really rough, and the combat is very fun. Additionally, you can build some fortifications or dig into the earth and mess around with the terrain. Whatever it may be, strategize, plan accordingly, and try to take out the other team. The last game we're going to be talking about for this video is an awesome game that I am glad that I checked out once again this year, called Pizza Game. Pizza Game is a little roguelike game where you go from area to area, clearing out enemies, equipping different weapons, getting passives, and making your way to bosses. The game recently had an update, and it added a bunch of more content and overall more replayability. This project is very awesome, the art style is awesome, the movement is very fun, and the design is really cool. I would definitely recommend checking it out, especially if you're looking for a first-person shooter. That's gonna be all for this video. I hope you found some new and fun games to play, and I hope you enjoy all of these games as much as I have. Genuinely, there have been a bunch of small projects all over Roblox, and a bunch of these are very impressive, and I can only hope they succeed. And I hope the videos that I do showcasing these games help you find some new and fun experiences. Now, that's gonna be all for this video, and I will see ya.